The location of parking for staff would be parked for longer than 2 hours would need to be confirmed. Current vehicular access to the building and parking structure are provided by a one-way driveway off of North Oakland Avenue, exiting to either the north or west of the provided. Exiting to either the north or west is provided by the alley. Review and approval. Per code, the Village Plan Commission shall review site and existing proposed structures, architectural plans, neighboring uses, parking areas, driveway locations, highway access, traffic generation and circulation, drainage, sewerage, water systems, and proposed operation. Conditions such as landscaping, architectural design, type of construction, construction commencement and completion dates, sureties, lighting, fencing, planting, screens, operational control, hours of operation, improved traffic circulation, speed restrictions, highway access restrictions, increased yards or parking requirements may be required by the Village Plan Commission upon its finding that these are necessary to fulfill the purpose and intent of this chapter. I'll skip through the 7 conditions that we already know. Staff comments. Staff has reviewed the application as requested, followed on several items. A supplement to the plan of operations has subsequently been provided in response to many of those questions. Those are included in the packet. In relation to site and architectural improvements, greater plan details will be required for review of the Design Review Board before final approval of any permits. However, this review covers the proposed use and operations of the site. Staff and Design Review Board will be able to review and approve any plans in the future. The Plan Commission may choose to take up the conditional use permit and special exception application separately. However, understand that the approval of both would eventually be required for occupancy.
Thank you. So at this point in time, I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this agenda matter? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and invite the applicant to come forward.
The applicant typically responds to any questions that came up during the public hearing, but if none came up, there's not much to respond to unless they want to respond to anything that I mentioned in my presentation.
Okay. And is there, then do I open it up to the commissioners?
You could close the public hearing then.
Okay.
If you didn't already, sorry.
I will close the public hearing at this point, and I will open it up to the commissioners for any discussion and or motions.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the conditional use application and parking special exemption for the proposed healthcare facility at commercial property 4023 through 27 North Oakland Avenue, subject to any required conditions.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Right. Commissioner Kylie.
My main questions have to do with parking. So we talked about the timing, the 45 minutes on that first level of parking, 2 hours on the third level. What's going on in that second level of the parking structure?
That is already controlled by a different entity. I don't know if someone in the audience knows who it is. It's one of the residential properties that's signed for private parking. It's either Light Horse or I know Katz also has some stuff in that building, but I think probably it's Light Horse.
Does anyone have a copy of the parking? So the one thing that's missing from the packet, in my opinion, which I think goes to your question, is I don't understand the parking arrangement in the structure. So did you receive one? Not in. Is there anyone that can, in the audience or the applicant, that can explain the parking arrangements within that structure? Just state your name and address for the book.
Lois Aruda, I'm going to use my business address, that's okay, 333 East Chicago Street in Milwaukee. My understanding is that at the sale of the building, there is basically a lease agreement that includes 10 parking spaces in the parklet, and we do have access to that. It's like a 110-page document, but we can peel off those particular pieces to support or give to the village as proof of those 10 spaces being part of the space.
But there's nobody here has information on the rest of the structure, like there's some that's...
Well, we did a walking survey, and we do have the plans a little bit that lay out the spaces, but my understanding is that the restricted floor, which is the second floor, is the residents that are in the apartment building, kind of above Walgreens or near Walgreens. I don't know the name of the structure or the name of the property off the top of my head.
Light Horse.
It's the Light Horse.
Okay. And was there,
And my understanding is the third floor is also signed for 2-hour or permit parking. I believe those permits are possibly under the control of CATS. I don't
I
have
don't know who the
documentation of
operator is,
that.
but I believe that is correct.
But it wouldn't be, they wouldn't be your spaces that you're understanding, those aren't.
We have 10 spaces on a floor in there. And I can get the specific information if that would then provide it to Art.
that would be fabulous. The only reason I asked, and I did ask this ahead of time, was, so unlike the metro market structure, where we control, the village controls a certain amount of spaces, and we can determine by village board action how to divvy those up if we want to do it for employee parking. We don't have control, I don't believe, although we'd have to, for any of the spots in this structure. So it wouldn't be under the village's purview, it would be under a private property owner, is that correct?
We do have, I think, 10 or 11 spots that we do sell for permits, but they're all sold out, and there's a waiting list, but so we have very limited amount. In terms of the ones that are not utilized, currently we have no control over those, just to clarify.
Thank you, and Commissioner Kylie Miller, if you want to continue, and then Commissioner Klein.
Yeah, I know when we gave the parking exception to the North Shore Bank, which looks like we're getting pretty close to being finished with the exterior, they said that they were going to have a conversation with the owners of that structure for some employee parking. They had not done it yet at the time that we gave them the exception. So I'm not quite sure what they worked out, where their employees are going to park. And these kind of questions, it's like we're always looking at them in a vacuum. So we look at how many spaces are available, and these lots are on the streets, and not factoring in that everybody else is also counting those same spaces. And you can't take that parking pie, you can only cut pieces so small because, you know, the spaces for parking space don't change. So that's what makes it a little tricky. And the space that's under the light horse next to the Walgreens, I go there a couple times a week, and it's always at least half to 3/4 full. Now, shoppers at Sunday's also use that space. 45-minute parking, that's great. Most shoppers probably aren't in either business that long. So when we're talking about a patient visit of 1 to 2 hours, then I wonder whether that patient is going to park in the most convenient space, which is that Walgreens lot, and then just kind of hold those spaces for longer than intended. So it's, although I did wonder, I know it says that the applicant is going to sell their current building on Capitol, and I drove past there today and thought, boy, they've got a lot of parking. Maybe they could keep that building and have employees park over there, or maybe the village could buy it for its parking structure. That seems to be
Commissioner Queen said that the last applicant could buy the building.
well, exactly. I thought that would be great for the kids that are up there and they can park underneath it. So my other question is about the parking. Will the patients be directed to park in the Bartlett lot then, as opposed to the Walgreens lot? I mean, when I get a confirmation for appointment at Freighter, they send me a little map that says this is where you should park. So I'm just wondering.
We're saying Sue here from
Yeah, how will that
Ascension, and
work?
she can give you answer the logistics that way.
Hi everyone, Sue Sanicola. I'll give you my work address, 400 Riverway Parkway, over here in Glendale, part of Ascension. We will work with our patients. Remember, we've got a lot of work to do with our patients because we have to get them from Capitol over to our new place. And so we will have multiple times of communication, which will be directing them to where to park.
And where would that be?
It'll be in those 10 spots, obviously, that we have part of our agreement, and then we will go to those, the third floor space. Not the second floor, we know that is restricted.
And what was the third floor again?
The third floor is 2-hour and/or permit parking.
Yeah.
And do we have a count for that, or do we know who the owner
We
It
have
sounds like they might, it's probably
We have a count for the
Above
third
20.
floor.
Yeah, I believe it was
Yep,
25,
50 degrees,
yeah. She's got the
She's counting up the
parking
spaces.
map.
Is there an elevator?
Yes.
Yes, there's one there.
Commissioner Klein, do you want to go, or do you want me to call him? Commissioner
the conversation since my last question.
Okay, I know, I apologize. And when you
I
get.
was kind of curious how much bigger the business is getting. I mean, you've got a parking issue over there, moving it over here. How much bigger is it getting?
So we will, the square footage is growing a little bit in terms of physical space. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because when that building on Capitol Drive was built, we didn't have an electronic health record and there were big medical record rooms. Now in this day and age, you use your space very differently. So we will go from 4 to 5 practicing physicians to a max of 8. And I say a max of 8 because on any given day, especially with OBGYN, they're not always all in the office. So again, to code, we have to get to our maximum number. But on any given day, there will be between 5 to 7, I would say, practicing physicians. So we certainly will expand our business by that primary care and OB base.
And is it correct to say that it's the same square footage, the two buildings?
Yeah, there's not much difference. It's maybe 8 to 1,000 square feet different. It's really, we get the benefit of designing the space now in the digital world. It's very different. We don't have to have a big room to store medical records. We have to worry about, tablets and computers being the patient record.
Did anyone find the answer to that question?
Yeah, there are a total of 57 spaces and 10 of which are reserved for balustrade, or at least on this plan that I have.
So 57 meaning on the third floor?
Yeah, on the third floor, and 10 of those are reserved, and then the rest of them are 2-hour public parking and permit parking.
I believe the 10 or 11 on the most eastern side are signed for village permit parking, so.
This plan doesn't indicate.
Yeah, I've been up there, I know that those, they're up there, so whatever that, how are we on that wall, the eastern wall?
There's 14 altogether on that space, and one of which is a handicap accessible spot.
So I would think 13 of those are village permit spaces, so then you're
43
correct.
spots on that third floor. Okay, Commissioner Hanson?
Mine was somewhat related. I was just curious what the current parking is versus what you're moving to. So I know you've got a number of spaces.
I won't have exact numbers, but we probably have the building, our clinic is on the second floor and there's parking underneath. There's probably 16 to 18 spots underneath there, and then there's, our employees park in there, they park in the back, they park on side streets, and obviously patients fill in where they can.
So up to 18 dedicated spots?
Underneath the building. I think that's about right. I'm thinking it's pretty tight in there. I don't feel like it's even 18, but they pack them in pretty tight there. And then obviously patients park right in front.
Commissioner Whitman?
Can I ask a question? When this was a retail space, when I could read in the code, it's 1 spot per 250 square feet, which would, from their building plan, would have required in the past with aesthetics 47 spots. So they're asking for 45. I'm just trying to look at as we go through this stuff. We're tight on parking and everything we look at, but if before it was 47, if it's going to be a retail space, we're going to be revisiting this again, no matter what the space is. And if you could just check that, that's just me reading our code real quick.
And that probably is correct. I'm sure the Sendix building was built way prior to any parking restrictions that were there. We're here now because the code requires that any substantial alteration to a building gets consideration of the standards. There is a structure back there. Ideally, it can be utilized by all the businesses around it. So I feel like the intent of building that structure was to do this, and so hopefully we can confirm that there are spaces that are available and or can be utilized. But yes, I'm sure Sendix was built prior to any sort of parking restriction back in the streetcar days,
Well, there also was a parking lot there before Light Horse.
Correct,
But my point is, I'm just trying to support my motion with my fellow commissioners, that I think that if another store were to go in there, or if you look at the restaurant requirements, no matter what it is, we're gonna be having the same meeting. So if we just kind of dive into that and decide, well, this is gonna be a problem no matter what goes in that space.
And I would think the clinic would actually be less.
Correct. That's what I.
Commissioner Patel?
I guess I don't understand that other building, like, are they required to have that certain amount of public parking, or they could suddenly just make it all private parking? Like, what is that parking that has 2-hour public, yeah, the car.
Who owns it?
I mean, are they required to have this, or it's tomorrow they could be like, yep, we're taking it all away?
So that is a really good question, and the only way that I know to find that answer is to pull up the developer agreement with the developer who was Mandel Company.
Correct.
And I did ask that same question because I am unclear and uncomfortable with not having that information, but it was I don't think that the staff has had time to find that document and to provide that information, and it wasn't provided in our packet.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I didn't think of it or get the requested time to be able to pull it up, and I'm not sure if we even have it, quite honestly, because it is a private lot, giving it to private people. So like I said, I know Cats has some, I know Light Horse has some for their users as well. It is marked for 45-minute public parking on the ground level.